Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ungainly Titan. Once again we're on Liberty Falls. I'm in the IS-3 in both games, and I'm going to show two games on Liberty Falls. Just to highlight something I wanted to highlight about Liberty Falls, and I think optimal approach. I personally think the best approach for heavy tanks, particularly the majority of heavy tanks that don't have a lot of gun depression or particularly strong turrets, is to go the 1-2 line. Either, doesn't matter which spawn, light tanks I think should either try and get into the middle and get into the bushes across the other side of the river if they can manage it in passive scout, or passive scout somewhere just to wait and then wait for the later game. I don't think light tanks should scout down either end of the map, because they just run into trouble and they'll run into tank destroyers and medium tanks or whatever. They'll just get picked off and they won't show the value. You have an AMX Chaffee up here already in this game. Now, it's particularly good, I think, these two end runs if there are no artillery. Particularly, this one's very exposed to artillery. The 9-line run is less exposed to artillery because artillery tends not to position at the end of the run so as to get them best best opportunities of firing along that line, because there's some very high defiles or very high sides along that line which will block or mask artillery fire. However, while I am well ahead of support, so far I've only been seeing tier 6 tanks along this side, and this is another tier 6 tank which doesn't really present a huge threat. I mean, the Jackson is a pretty good tank destroyer, but if I can see him, I can shoot back at him, and once I can shoot back at him, he's like a 2-shot kill, and he's just taking fire there from the back of the map from one of the tank destroyers or something like that. Now, it does look like on the western side that our tanks have screwed up the defense of the western side. Enemy tanks should never have been able to get that far forward this early in the game unless those tank destroyers are positioned so they can't shoot under the highway, which is very likely. Coming up to this corner, the AMX Chaffee has been engaged in Peekaboom, and he's a 1-shot kill, so we finish him off. This is why I think light tanks have much business coming along this line, because they'll just get focused down and eliminated. Now we come here to the first real opposition, the KV-4. It's a premium. I'm not too sure what the abbreviation stands for, but he's not playing it well. He's showing his sides to me, and there was a T-34-85 Rudy on the rise, the high ground behind him, and he just fled the scene completely, which I think is again a very bad play. That T-34-85, if he had made a flanking maneuver into the high ground on my left, it would have made life very, very difficult for me while I'm engaging with the KV-4. This IS-3 has come along as well, but he's managed to get a decent hit into me, but he's now advancing along the open ground, and he's not getting the support from the KV-4 that he might have expected. And while he's a fellow Irishman, that won't stop me from putting him out of the game. So now I can resume my attention on the KV-4, which, as far as I can make out, hasn't really done me much damage. Well, he did one there. But we are now tracked. Well, he's tracked now, so he's kind of helpless, and he's taking fire from my allies who are starting to arrive on the scene as well. And we're going to put one at the front. We've set him on fire. We've now basically protected. Once we're face hugging, he can't shoot my lower front plate or vulnerable parts of the tank. So I can get back, just shoot his lower front plate. Now we have the T-44 as the next real threat. The MT-25 isn't really a threat, and we put a round into him. I think the light tank is engaging with the MT-25. We have T-44's missed again. And he's disappeared behind the buildings. Somebody shot up the road there, but I think the light tank has taken out the MT-25, and there's a T-150 here. And from the lack of reaction, I think we can safely say he's probably AFK. However, he's only a 1-shot kill, so we might as well get rid of him before we move on. Just in case he does wake up or the player comes back having made his cup of tea and expecting the game to still going on 5 minutes in. So I don't have a line of sight on that ISU 152. I'm going to head down. The T-44 might still be down there. Somebody's after driving through the friendly base. There's an IS-3 over there. Not a great angle, and he's disappearing from view. So I push forward. As I come around the back of the building, I get detected, so I go around the other side of the buildings. Because I don't see anyone, at least I don't see anyone that is really convenient to shoot. There's a T-28 HTC, but he's not quite facing me, but he's not quite side on as well from the way that shot bounced. And now he's more or less facing me, so it's very unlikely I'll get the round through. I have been spotted and targeted, possibly by the T-28 HTC. So I back off, come behind the buildings to get out the targeting, and it looks like nobody's resetting our cap. So drastic steps will have to be taken. Is there anybody around the side of the building? I've not been spotted. Damn, we can't see through the fence, so we're going to have to break the fence, which makes it more likely, of course, that somebody will see us. Now, where is the damn cap circle gone? Oh, there it is. I reckon there. Yeah. No problem. Cap reset. And then somebody else further resetted, hitting the second tank shortly after right of that shot. And we now have 3 tanks to 2 closing on the cap circle, so it is more than likely that the cap circle fight will go our way. However, we are going to friendly cap before anything else happens. Or cap the enemy base with friendly forces. Although a tank destroyer did get in amongst them, but he didn't actually manage to do anything, or at least anything in time to stop the friendlies from capping. So, finish up with 4 kills, 3,500 damage, 5-pointer game, so became number 1 by experience, and first class mastery. The next game is also on Liberty Falls. It's from the other side, and I've customized the crew. For some reason or other, the voice had... I'm pretty sure I'd customized those guys to speak in Russian, but I actually changed them over to a female crew. I had not actually noticed in previous games they'd reverted to the default commander's voice. Now this game is similar but different. It's this is the game that indicates how you should play Liberty Falls, particularly when there's no artillery on the board. There's no artillery on this game, and the team are coming in strength, but not limbing training, down the eastern side of the map, down the 1-2 line, and they're not messing about. They're coming along pretty strongly. That medium tank pushes fairly aggressively, and I push fairly aggressively with him. And in fairness to the rest of the team, I think they initially took it a bit cautiously, but they actually followed up quite strongly. Now I favour to go along the edge of the map rather than along, most of the time, along the water's edge, because it's easier to engage tanks one-on-one, I think, along this route than it is along the other route, but it depends sometimes on what other tanks are doing. Because you can't completely ignore the other side, because you cross these gaps between the river and the low grounds at either end, and a guy can cross the other side without you being able to interfere with it. This WZ-132 is in real trouble here. He's taken on 2 tanks and he just doesn't have the armour or the hit points or the location for it. T-69 is bouncing shots. He doesn't play that well either. With a T-69, I think he's probably on a reload there, but he should have gone around the back of the building. He's on his own. There's a mob of tanks coming in on top of him, and he's going to get caught on the reload as soon as we arrive. So I get a round in. He puts one in, and bounces, and bounces, and I finish him off. That is the problem with these autoloaders. Even if I didn't finish him off, he would have been murdered by the rest of the tanks coming on, because he would then have 16 or 20 seconds where he'd have no gun and no round in the breech and nothing to answer back to. The enemy tank destroyers are also fairly badly positioned. They're around the back of their own cap circle. No idea what they were doing there. Unless they were spotted as coming and were repositioning or trying to reposition to defend the cap. However, there is such a mob of tanks coming in on them that they're going to get overwhelmed. There just isn't enough of them back here to handle the job, and they'd have been much better off if they had gone up to the 1-2 line and supported the tanks that were defending that location rather than whatever it was they were doing prior to this. So they're still all alive, but now they're going to start dying in pretty rapid order. We have a KV-85 and a Ferdinand over there. Put one into the Ferdinand. I'm going to prioritise the Ferdinand because I can bounce a lot of shots in the KV-85, particularly when I'm in close to him like this. But I'll put ones through the side of the Ferdinand and we'll take that pretty powerful gun out of the game. And then KV-85 bounces another one. He's taking a hit from somebody else, and I think he gets wiped out. Yes, he gets wiped out before I get a chance to even reload. So it's one of those fights where everybody's competing to do damage, and it's a question of do what damage you can, because if you hesitate at all, there'll be nobody around to shoot at. And pretty much nobody, there's one guy thinking about going for the cap circle, and everybody else is just rushing for the remaining enemy tanks. And even the guy in the cap circle I think is going to leave in a few moments. It's just that kind of a game. And we have the whole thing pretty much wrapped up inside 5 minutes. And we probably would have done it faster if the distances weren't as much, you know. This was as quick as we could get around the map. That is my last shot of the game. I'm not going to get near the remaining tank. He's over there at the other side of the highway. Practically at the high ground. Some of the faster tanks might get close enough, but he's gone. He's gone even before the flanking tanks arrive. So that's it. Game over. Rapid, fast, brutal takedown of an enemy team, and I think Liberty Falls is a particularly good map for doing stuff like this on. Didn't do as much damage as in the previous game, simply because we couldn't keep up. There was too many other tanks competing to do damage. But we still managed to get a 2nd class mastery. And we get the 5 points, so we were actually number 1 by experience as well. Quick glance at the team score sheet there. The enemy teams particularly shows that most of the defenders of the base, with the exception of the T-28, didn't even get a shot off. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. And if you haven't already done so, consider giving the channel a subscription. And I'll catch you all again soon.